and you have to do better and all these things. But ironically, I actually think the spirit of this industry is the winning spirit of the day. As we become more AI'd out and more teched out and more VR'd out and all that, it is the people that are most human that will win. And I think we need to think about that, you know? And so I implore you, one, to not be in your ivory tower if you have that senior of a position, to not be a manager of. This is 100% the time to get your hands dirty. Humility is often the gateway to success and happiness. This would be a really good time to be professionally humble and get your hands very dirty on every AI tool you possibly can. Here's why. The next thing happens. My belief is the way this is going to play out is there's going to be the tech energy in companies around this, but then there's going to be the consumer, the B2B, the humanity.
It was an intense time. What did they see in you as a football player? What was it that they saw in you as a young one? Because I've got all these wonderful photos of you as a young player, and
oh my God. So in my village, I was the best player. In my village. So I scored the goals, I was the fastest, all this physical talent. I was really fast. Later on, when I studied sports science, I could jump far, I could jump high, all these kind of things. So I was a physical talent. I was literally surprised by the approach from professional football clubs.
Manifestation is bullshit. And
just become successful by happenstance or by luck now?
I think there are definitely people who get lucky. Repeat and serial entrepreneurs less so. I've only really encountered maybe like a couple people in my career on the entrepreneur side that I'm like, this guy was just lucky. I think there are elements of luck, but it's like luck becomes becomes gas more than the thing that like built the car. It's like they were going to be successful, they just got way more successful because they had like, multiple things kind of aligned.
Can you give us some examples of luck like that?
Yeah, sure. Like if you were an Amazon in 2013, 14, 15, and you put up a product, you could just crush. Like you didn't have to like really know anything. There was just all this demand that was there. If you were running Facebook ads in 2011, it was just like not hard to crush. If you were doing SEO in like 2008 and 7 with like, you could literally just put like coffee in like white font on a white background, so the whole background of the website just said coffee. But like if you looked at the site, you wouldn't see it. But if you like took a cursor, you could just see it just says coffee, because the algorithms weren't like that advanced, and so you could just rank and get all of Google's traffic. So there was just like a lot of the things that were lucky were just like, typically, I'll put it differently, luck will come from a supply-demand discrepancy within a window of time. And so where there's a huge amount of demand and a small amount of supply, and then you happen to be one of those people who gets in on that. Now, that being said, part of that is like recognizing opportunity. And so like, to what degree is that luck? You know, I think the question of whether it's luck or not is whether you can repeat it.
So I'm curious where those opportunities are today, because it seems like every few years, in hindsight, you could look back and be like, that was the best time to do that.
Yeah.
What's going on today that people aren't recognizing the potential in?
I think there's micro and macro opportunities. So like from the macro perspective, I think we've had like 3 big ones. So at least in my lifetime. So it's like we've had internet, which is like kind of opportunity number 1. Opportunity number 2 is kind of like Web 2.0, which is social. And then opportunity 3 is AI now. So there's the 3 macro ones. Now underneath of that, it's kind of like, well, Facebook ads was kind of like an opportunity kind of like within that. And then like Google search was an opportunity. Like all of those are kind of like kind of like micro opportunities. Like I think like TikTok Shop right now, a lot of people are kind of like in the Amazon of 2013, 14. Like I know a lot of people who've really never done much, and then just like within 60, 90 days are doing $1 million a month. And it's just because there's a huge supply demand discrepancy between the amount of influencers that are there that want to make money and the amount of products to sell. And they will just continue to populate it until eventually it becomes a stabilized market. But it's like when those land grabs occur, that's when there's typically outsized returns to be had.
What do you think people need to be able to capitalize on these opportunities?
I think you have to have skills.
Just straight up.
Yeah, like you just have to have skills. Like I remember it was really funny, like our first ever conversation that we had, I was like, man, if I had your amount of following, I was like, I'd be a billionaire.
Yeah.
And I saw that as a supply-demand like, and even so, like when you asked just a few minutes ago, like, you know, what things are there now? Like, I still kind of see social media still thinks there. I still think that opportunity exists for people if you're good. But maybe it's less so than when Instagram came out in 20, whatever year it was, when you could just post pictures of you on the sunset and have like 1 million followers, and people would just buy because you just had this insane reach. But I saw it as a the fact that we could still advertise ourselves and get paid to do it is still mind-boggling to me, that like opportunity exists. Like, you can build a brand and get paid to do it, which I think is insane.
Okay, so now it's arguable that you have his brand, if not even a bigger brand.
Yeah.
Did you accomplish that goal?
I won't be public about what our stuff is valued at, but I think that we've done well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Classic answer. That makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to make claims around things. Market values for enterprise value for illiquid assets like private equity investments and, you know, companies that are owned really depends only on the time that somebody's going to buy it. I have had some of the biggest banks that you've heard of, things like that, out to this headquarters to see what we have going on, and they've been like, "This is insane."
What do they look for?
So what they want is what every investor wants, which is what, you know, I tried to set out to do in the very beginning, which was they want proprietary deal flow. So they want people who want to specifically do deals with one person. So it's not like they're shopping. They're like, I want to do a deal with you. And ideally, you have some sort of captive market or niche. And so for acquisition.com, we are kind of low mid-market in terms of what companies or businesses are kind of attracted to my stuff. And so it's typically the business is doing like between $1 and $100 million a year. And this was kind of the thesis of acquisition in the beginning, was like, okay, everything sub $1 million, there's tons of people who, you know, help people get their first customer, a few $100,000 in revenue, first 5 clients, things like that. Like, there's tons of kind of like the coaching, consulting, whatever, you know, or coaching course world is there. Then if you go like 100 million and up, then you've got like McKinsey, Bain, BCG, Deloitte, PwC, EY, like a lot of these, Gartner, like all these kinds of consulting firms that deal with like kind of above there. There's just not a lot in like the 1 to 100 million range. And what's interesting about that particular range is that that's where a huge amount of like alpha is created in terms of investing returns. And so, like, for example, if you have a business, and this is probably gonna lose half the audience, but if you have a business that's doing, call it like $3 million in EBITDA or profit, right, per year, and you can make a handful of tweaks and get it from 3 to 8 million, the $3 million EBITDA business might be worth $12 million, maybe. The $8 million EBITDA business can probably get somewhere between like 80 and $100 million in a sale. And so it's like you have a huge multiplier effect that increases once you get above about $5 million in profit, and especially as you approach 10, where you now become a target for institutional grade investors. So because they have to put to work hundreds of millions of dollars. And so they basically become the customer of buying the product, which is the business that you created. And so our thesis of acquisition.com was like, well, we want to get people right before they're at that level, buy at really small prices, make the changes in the business, and then capture this huge upside.
So where do most businesses get stuck?
I mean, businesses get stuck at all different levels. I mean, because all you'd have to do is just look at the revenue breakdowns. Like 95% of businesses are less than $1 million a year. So a lot of businesses just like barely even get to the $1 million in revenue point. Above that, it's I think it's 1 in 250, so it's 0.4% get to $10 million a year.
So is that a market problem or an operator problem?
I think it's almost always an operator problem. Like, unless you're like people will name these like really random weird businesses where someone like tries to come up with something entirely new. But I see there's kind of like 3 kind of types of big buckets of risk in terms of picking an opportunity. You've got like a product market fit risk, which is I'm going to come up with something that no one's ever done before and see if people want it. That's like an Uber. Let's see if strangers will pick up strangers in taxis. Like, maybe it may sound crazy at the time, right? So that's a product market fit risk issue. Those are, in my opinion, extremely risky. The second category are technical risk issues. So like if I just said, hey, I can come up with an AI salesperson that can take all your phone calls for you, I don't need to guess whether people are going to want that. They're for sure going to want it. The problem is how likely you can actually do it. It's the difficulty of actually solving the problem, right? The Uber thing, it's like, well, there's some technical risk there too, but will people even want this versus they want it, I don't know if I can deliver it. And then the third category is what I would say is the vast majority of business owners, which is just execution risk. There's other long-hair businesses that do $100 million a year. The path is really literally in front of me. The only risk is whether I'm skilled enough to do it. That's it.
So what are the biggest operating obstacles you've personally ran into trying to scale acquisition.com into $1 billion business, and how did you overcome it?
Suffering is constant. It's just that the nature of the suffering changes. And so it's like the hard is always hard, and I think what makes it more difficult as the business continues to develop is that you end up trading things that you didn't expect you'd have to trade. And so like in a lot of people's minds, it's like, oh, I can push really hard. It's like it stops being about how hard you can push at a certain point. Sometimes it's about how long you can wait. Sometimes it's about how focused you can stay. Sometimes it's about what kind of person you're able to attract to the business. Sometimes it's just the quality of your decisions, right? Well, a lot of times it's the quality of your decisions, and those are just kind of like micro examples. But like, you know, in the very beginning, you have to overcome a lot of environmental issues. It's like you have your friends and family who are telling you that it's not going to work, whatever, and they think your idea is stupid. And so you have to overcome that. And then maybe you have to overcome your own limiting beliefs. So you have to overcome that. And then you start doing things and you start advertising and letting people know that you have stuff and selling them on your services, your product. And then quickly you have to learn like the first level of management. So it's like, okay, well now it's not me, it's me and maybe a couple of virtual assistants. And then you're like, okay, this is too much for part-timers, I need some full-timers. So then you have to level up to basically being a manager, which you haven't done before. And then once you're a manager, it's like, okay, well I'm managing this half, I have to get somebody else. Then you get your first manager, and then all of a sudden you have multiple managers. Now you're a leader, right? And then you have to attract leaders, which is a totally different skill because you have to lead leaders. And so at every level,
What's up, boss?
I see entrepreneurship as a forcing function for
Did you find Chacha?
but also a forcing function for progress, in that you will stay in pain until you progress, and then you will find new pain.
So what's something that you've tweeted or said that people clearly agree with, but just don't implement?
I feel like we can pull it off. Like, where do you want to start?
Now, if there's one thing I absolutely can't stand, it's wasting money. And I know we've all done it. We've signed up for subscriptions that you don't really realize at the moment. You forget about them, and then pretty soon, you're charged out the wazoo for things that you never really needed or used. That's why, no joke,
There's 4 elements of value as I've kind of defined it in the book, the $100 million offers book. So you have the dream outcome, right? Which is like, what am I actually going to give this person? Every product is a dream outcome, every service is a dream outcome, which is like, what's the thing that they want to have happen? Okay, cool. So that's going to be our baseline in terms of value. Like if I'm going to help somebody make an extra $1 million a year or $10 million a year, that's going to be a baseline. But there's still going to be a discount that's applied to that. And there's basically 3 factors that apply to that discount. Number 1 is how fast is it going to happen? Number 2 is how much effort is it going to take on behalf of the customer. And then number 3 is how likely is it to occur. And so fundamentally, those are the elements of value that are either multipliers or detractors of what you can ultimately charge a customer for whatever it is that you sell. So how do I make it fast? How to make it easy? And how to make it risk-free? And so within each of those components, like part of the way of making it risk-free to them is if I have 10,000 other people I've done this for, it's much less risky, right? That's proof, right? You could also do that with covenants and terms. You could either do it based on performance that shifts more of the risk to you. You can also just give guarantees and satisfaction. You get guarantees that are conditional based on things that they do. Those are all elements of things that you can do to decrease risk, which you can reverse into price. And so said differently, I could say, hey, I'll charge you $5,000 to do this thing. And if someone says, well, no, it's like, okay, well, I'll do it for $3,000, but I won't give you a satisfaction guarantee. And then what you'll find happen is they're like, oh, well, I'll do it for $5,000 with the guarantee. So people will resell themselves on a higher price if you take away a component that's valuable. So that's the risk one. From a speed perspective, I would say that the more I've studied like human behavior, sales, persuasion, marketing, the more I really lean into speed. Like, if you want to enter any new marketplace, just look at what everyone else is doing and see if you can do it in half the time. And there's just so much value in speed. Like, humans are so immediate reward focused. Like, almost every business can offer a speed version. So it's like you're a YouTube thumbnail agency and you say, cool, I'll get you thumbnails in a week normally. It's like, oh, if you want for 50% more, I'll get them to you in 24 hours. And for 300%, I'll get them to you in the next 60 minutes. It's the same cost to you, it's the same work. But you just give someone priority access, and it's all margin. So it's like you can always play with speed. As a variable of value.
you find your charger?
The third element
For the
has 2
purse?
pieces to it, which is ease. Like, how does it have 2 elements? Well, one is, what are the bad things
He gave you
that
one.
I hate
So
doing
now
that I get
good?
to not do as a result
Okay.
of buying? Right?
You have
All
any
stuff I don't
plans
like,
buying your
you're gonna
own,
take away,
or you
great.
good?
But I also want to make sure that I don't
He said
put
he's
myself
good?
from doing the things they do enjoy doing, right? And so I give a classic example of like, if you sign up at a gym, all of a sudden you have to start doing things you don't want to do. But you also have to stop drinking margaritas. You have to stop Taco Tuesday. You have to stop having cupcakes. Stop having your McFlurries. So it's like you have to give up stuff you like, and you have to do stuff you hate, which is why it's such a hard sale.
So do you study psychology in order to be a more effective salesperson?
I wouldn't say I study psychology. I would say I just look at data of business, because the one advantage that I have is I have a huge amount of data that I sit on top of between the companies that we invest in, the companies that use our services on the advisory division, the companies the companies we own, and the companies we invest in. And so it's like I get to see a lot of different data. And so when we make changes into a sales process or a change in terms of an offer, I could see the improvements in conversion rates. And so that's where a lot of my like theses have come from.
Are you ever surprised by the data, or is most of it kind of just confirming your intuition?
All the time. I get surprised all the time.
What's been like one of the biggest surprises about this data?
Yeah, we had a company that sells B2B services, and I had this guess that based on basically we could collect the data of the size of the revenue of the companies that were basically leads that were coming in the funnel. And so I wanted to shut off the bottom third of the leads because they were the lowest revenue leads and just have the team focus on the top 2/3.
You have any plans
So I was
going
like, hey,
anywhere,
just
Jeff?
pull the sales data because I'm going to bet that all the conversion's happening on the top end.
Nothing yet.
And the conversion rate was actually evenly spread. And so I was like, huh, like almost to the percentage point. And I was like, that.
You want a coat?
Oh, jacket.
You don't have it?
No.
What?
You don't have what?
A jacket.
Yeah, we don't. He doesn't have one.
What happened? What?
is not what I would have expected. And again, that could be unique to that specific business. I would still posit that in general, more qualified customers buy on average more and spend more money. Just in this particular business, and maybe that means that that business is mispriced, which would be a different problem. But given that data, I was like, that's interesting. We have people who are 10 times the size buying at the same rate as people who are 1/10 the size. Wild. And it's way more of a stretch for these people than it is for these people. So maybe we're missing our
Did you
message.
ever find out why? Have you dug into that and gotten to the bottom?
It's a great question because like I try. It's really hard to say why because like I think a lot of people like to use because it's very compelling, but I just try and stick with like this is the data that I have within this given context, and in this situation it worked. And I know there are principles like things that are fast will sell better than things that are slow. Things that are easy will sell better. If I had to solve for two things, it would be gross margin and revenue retention. So fundamentally, like, what do we make per sale in terms of like, is there a lot of margin that's there? If so, like, that's more attractive to me. And then secondarily, how likely is that this person is going to continue to buy from us next year and the year after that? So if I have a business that I have hypothetically 100% gross margins and 100% revenue retention, that's an amazing business. They literally just print money and they never lose it. Like, that's cool. That's a very attractive business. So if I only knew those two things, the only other thing I'd want to know is what's my cost to acquire a customer versus my lifetime gross profit per customer. So how much money does it cost me to get somebody, and then how much do they pay me over time? And so basically that fundamental, the LTV to CAC ratio, or LTGP to CAC ratio, I know fancy acronyms, but that ratio between those two numbers is the fundamental economic arbitrage that exists within businesses. And fundamentally that's why private businesses will get the highest returns in terms of returns on capital. Because in so few places, like if you were to put it in the S&P 500, those companies are already at scale and it's hard for them to grow, you know, huge percentages. Maybe let's say you put $1,000 in and you get 10%, so you're $1,100 at the end of the year. In a business, you can put $1,000 in paid ads and get $30,000 in gross profit in 24 hours. Like that happens.
What?
And so it's like that's how somebody can go from $0 to a billionaire in 4 years because the returns on capital are absurd. And this is also what I think one of the big opportunities of social media is that like, okay, why is social media so powerful? It's because it drives CAC to zero.
Do you trust customer satisfaction?
I take it as, I'll take surveys. So we survey across all the companies that we have because I like to have leading indicators in terms of like what's going on. I care more about the reason whys that they give. It's kind of like the comment section. Like I care more about that. But I care far more about renewal rates. So if we're getting bad scores but everyone's buying, then it'd be like, okay, well we found something that people need but hate that they have to buy from us, and they'll be very quick to switch. But as of right now, there's no one else who can do it either better, faster, or cheaper than we can. But I would say like how you spend your money is what I care the most about. I would say what you think. It's kind of like, what do you want? And people are like, I want faster horses versus the car. So it's like I care about that a little bit, but I care far more about what the data suggests about purchase behavior.
When you make an offer to somebody and they say no, I'm not interested, how often is that able to be turned around?
Across what setting? Is that in a sales setting?
In a sales setting.
I think it depends on the reason the person said no. So that would be like there would be a discovery question after that. So it'd be like, well, what are the variables used to make the decision? And sometimes like I think there's a big difference between a no based on value, or a no based on details, or a no based on authority, or a no based on timing. Like just kind of said, budget, authority, and timing. These are the kind of components. Well, how do we make sure that we can I control? Can I overcome some of these issues? Now, if someone's like, love what you have, I don't buy coats because I live in Panama. I'm like, okay, there's no need. Like I could try it somewhere. I'm like, hey, I've got a gym membership. Why aren't you signing up? It's like, well, you're in Iowa and I live in Florida. Like I'm never gonna get there. Like so, it's like where it depends on the reason for the no.
But what if it's a price issue?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you draw the line between lowering the price and cheapening the product, but getting someone who's qualified, keeping the price the same but losing the sale?
Yeah, so I'm a very firm believer in never negotiating with terrorists, including price terrorists. And so if someone wants to look, like if someone says, hey, can you do it for cheaper? You know, we train on saying like, we can do it for more. And we're like, okay, yeah, I got it.
We can do
I'll buy it
more.
that price. But
Never
the
cheaper.
price that you quote is the price that you stick to. Otherwise, as soon as you negotiate once, every price you have is negotiable, which sucks as a business. is a pain in the butt, and I hate it. So, and you want price standardization anyways, because you don't want different people getting sold different prices. People could talk. It kind of sucks. So, my big thing is price and terms. And so, if we have this price, if I'm going to change it, then I will also change terms. So, if someone's like, hey, I would love to buy the $5,000 thing, but I can't afford it. If we've already looped a couple times and said, okay, why can't you afford it? Why? How important is this to you? What would it cost you to not do this? You know, we quantify as many of these things as possible. And they're still like, I literally just don't have this amount of this. Here's my bank account. I have $3,000. I'll buy it for $3,000. Then, and then it's just like, I can't ethically sell you the same thing as somebody else for $5,000 for $3,000. I can't do it. What I can do is I can remove a component. So let's look at these things that we have here. We have this guarantee. I can remove the guarantee and I can knock $1,000 off. Does that work? Okay. Also, instead of coming to the gym, 3 times a week, if you come to the gym twice a week, would that work for you? Great. Well, let's just do that. You can do one workout at home. So I'll want to change the terms of the agreement if I'm going to change price, but I won't just say, sure, I'll do it for less. I just won't do that.
Why do you think that most people fail? Is it a skill gap, a belief gap, or is it just distraction?
I think it depends on how we define failure. So for the people who don't start, then it's probably a belief issue. Like they failed by never starting. And that's the vast majority of the people. They fail before they start the race.
They failed by never
Of the
starting.
people who do
That's
start the race,
powerful.
um,
It's like a
I
lot of
think
people
just
have
for
ideas,
people
but they never
$7 million,
start. So
almost
it's
you know what?
worthless.
It's not. I don't even say that. It's at all levels. Distraction is a huge one. They start 6 businesses in the hopes that one of them will take off because they fundamentally don't understand how business works. Like you have very constrained resources in terms of time, money, effort, human capital, people. And you have to allocate all of those things to one business to just have a hope that it's going to work. So I think focus is a massive one. So that's kind of equal opposite of distraction. And then in terms of
Yeah,
beliefs, the
a lot of
belief is the
people
early
have
days,
problem with
distraction
with the
kind of is
focus.
pervasive.
Definitely me.
Sometimes it's just business model
I don't
things,
focus on one thing. I'm
which I would
everywhere,
just translate up to skill deficiencies.
which is not a good thing.
So once someone gets started, I think there's just 2 buckets. You've got procedural knowledge and declarative knowledge, which is basically the 2 types of knowledge that exist, which is knowing how to do something and knowing that something exists or that something's possible. And so this is where people talk about mindset, manifestate, whatever. It's like fundamentally it's just like you have to believe that something's possible. And so if you meet somebody who's doing $10 million a year and they're the same age as you, grown in the same hometown, you're like, well, I guess that's possible, right? And all of a sudden it's like, man, my perspective totally changed. Like my mindset, I manifested, who knows, whatever. But like you fundamentally now believe it can happen. Cool. So then the only delta that you have is how to do it. Right, that's procedural. So we could talk about private equity all day on here, and someone could listen to every private equity podcast in the world. You understand that people are doing it, but you don't understand how to. And you can understand all the steps, but until you go
Abby's
through it,
back.
you won't know how it works.
You don't have to say
And
that.
once you do, then you can do it again.
Abby's back. Fire him.
People can start
Fire
implementing
what?
today that'll
Fire
make
him
Why
right
is
now.
that glue so bad?
Fire him right now.
Decision. It's
I'm not firing nobody.
You're the boss. Fire him.
producers.
Jeff,
Um,
he wants me to fire Abby and I'm not
Was there
firing
like a
her.
specific moment
What?
that you kind of had that realization?
Come on, not me. You don't have to fire me.
Decrease that amount of time.
Well, you
I said fire Abdi,
we
not
don't
me.
fire Abby.
2 things. So one is if you define a god being,
You have to
as
fire Abdi.
impotent,
We have to
then
fire
as
you
they think things
because
will
you're telling us to fire
And so if
Abby.
someone is
Yeah.
powerful,
Abdi
it's like the
didn't
moment they
do
think of
anything
it,
wrong.
He did
right?
everything
So it's
wrong.
What
that's
did
the
he do
hypothetical
wrong?
He's remember it's almost noon. He's not here. You guys been
It's
sleeping.
11:22 in his car. It's sitting in the driveway. He's here right now.
No, he's not inside the house. Yeah. So fire him now. Fire him now. Fire him now.
Like there are so many decisions that have to occur every single day.
That's not how that works.
Why?
You don't just fire someone because they're not in the house. So if you go outside to go get something out of your car, we can fire you
Mm-hmm.
because you're not in the house.
Well, if I'm not here too long, yes.
Okay, so when you go to take Floyd to Jordan Creek Mall,
Oh, I
and
take
you're gone
him.
forever, and you're gone for an hour, we can fire you.
Well,
because you were
I
gone
have
for
a
an hour.
client.
What?
I have somebody with me, so I'm not alone. So
But
technically,
you said,
no.
But you did not say. But that doesn't count because you said if you're not in the house, that's terms for firing. So technically, you're trying to get out of your own words because you're not. If you're not in the home. Nobody's
with him.
So if say I went with Abdi.
then he's fine and safe.
Okay, the next time Abdi leaves, I'll go with him so
Yeah,
that you can't fire him.
yeah. Oh no, Jeff won't let you do that.
Jeff, won't you let me go with Abdi?
Why wouldn't I?
Because
I'm being destroyed. I'm being destroyed.
Abdi, he's telling us to fire you because you were gone.
Fire Abdi now.
Are people allowed to take their off shift off?
Fire Abdi now.
You're not going to fire Abdi. He went to the gym to do something for his health.
Fire Abdi now.
We're firing you if you leave with Floyd to go to Jordan Creek Mall for open house.
Okay.
Play with that.
I'm gonna go downstairs and take my
It's in the dryer.
oh, it's in the
He
dryer.
already
I put it in the dryer, but I haven't. There's no. Do you usually put anything else like sand?
I put a sheet, like a drying sheet in.
Oh, I didn't, but
That's fine.
okay.
The only thing that helps with is the static.
Oh, it helps the reduce the static. I hate this static, man. It's so annoying. It does it to you?
Yeah, that takes care of that. You're never gonna have.
Really?
To voila.
Huh.
You're never gonna be. It's never gonna bother you again.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
all
so.
sweaty. I'm sorry. I gotta jump in the shower. But,
Yeah, go take a shower.
But yeah, it was so annoying because every time.
His stuff in the dryer though too. Yes, Zach.
Okay.
Be nice and go help Abdi with his clothes.
Oh, Zach is very nice. I don't know if you noticed, but he's really nice. He'll take my clothes and
I
put
just
it on
told him to go check and he goes no.
He was joking. He was joking.
Okay. Take care of you.
Yeah. Then.
Go, Skills.
Oh, actually,
Uh.
do you and Floyd want to go get the compression socks off while I take care of a few phone calls?
He's not still, but yeah, I'm gonna wake him up again.
Yeah, I would
He
wake
doesn't
him
want to get up.
I was just gonna say I'd wake him up.
I'd wake him up because
Yeah.
it's late in the day, and if he continues to sleep, it's
I want him rest.
nighttime sleep.
Oh, he's gonna miss the nighttime.
The nighttime, and then you
Okay.
gotta work the next day.
Perfect.
So,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, good thing I took my shower while you were gone.
Yeah. That's good.
Hopefully the water's warm because
Yeah, you might have cold water.
I was drinking water because I threw my bedding in. Like I literally took a cold shower. I'm like, oh my god. I've
You
never.
took cold shower on purpose, or was it not warm?
It wasn't warming because I threw my stuff in the washer, my bedding in the washer to wash on warm.
Oh, that's true.
Because the heater was okay. Well, hopefully there's some in there now.
I don't think
I
so.
took a cold shower. I'm like,
Cold showers are actually good. They suck when you're taking them, but then you finish and you feel a lot better. Like they wake me up.
I hope
yeah,
so.
It's like, oh my god, my body is gonna freeze for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I'll be fine.
All right, let me wake him up and then we'll wrap it up. We'll
You might want to
go.
go down there and physically wake him up.
Yeah.
And then get his clothes out of the dryer so I can
Out of the dryer. No, I won't do it. I won't do it. I'm the boss now, so no.
Can you please do it?
Okay.
Please, so I can get my bedding washed? Or
Got it.
dried, So I
Okay.
can get it on my bed?
Okay.
Please?
Okay.
I asked nicely.
Okay. I said okay. I said okay.